Hi, guys, and welcome to another episode of Social Hour. My name is Sarah,
And I'm Megan.
and this week we are back with another episode. We tried filming it together when we were both in North Carolina. We got about 10 minutes through and realized it just wasn't going to work out. So we're just going to have to stick with filming in separate locations, which is a bummer, but we'll get used to it.
I know. It would be so fun if we could just film the episode together, which I guess we could if we just sat next to each other and filmed it on one computer, but we kind of liked having the back and forth of us. I don't know. We'll have to figure it out for next time we're together.
So, how has your past week been so far?
So you left on Sunday, right? And then Monday I did like a really productive day. I made my to-do list for the week. I was so good. And then Tuesday I had another productive day. And then from Wednesday, it was just all downhill from there. And so I was gonna try to maybe start. I don't know. I always say I'm gonna journal more, but I do want to start journaling more just to start to realize my patterns because when you're high and low with energy and dopamine and stuff like that, I kind of want to try to figure out a way to not let my whole rest of my week just go downhill. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I definitely get what you mean, and I've kind of had a breakthrough this week too of just different ways to kind of make my life easier and with my like high energy days and my low energy days. So, trying to like collectively organize that right now.
Yeah. So how was your week getting back and everything?
So, getting back was we'll talk about that in a little bit. But I made it to work Monday, and I was fortunate enough to be able to go home early because I didn't get in till very late Sunday night. So I had that, and then work the rest of the week was pretty moderate. I did start a new hobby. I started painting rocks. So
Oh yeah.
I have the attention span of a goldfish. Like, not necessarily, but like when it comes to artsy, crafty things like you like to do, when you can spend 8 hours doing that,
Yeah.
I only have the attention span to do like one. So, painting on the first day, I painted one little hedgehog. And then I told dad, I said, well, there goes my attention span. And then, like 2 days later, I sat down and I think I did like five. And so I'm like, wow, that's kind of cool that like my attention span grew just like a little bit. And dad,
Yeah, and they were so cute.
yeah, dad was like, I wouldn't say he was like oddly surprised, but like I was like, like kind of mind blown about like what I did. They looked so cute.
Yeah, they did. That's funny too because it's like a throwback because painting rocks is actually the first thing I painted. Like that's what got me into painting, like canvases and stuff like that was because there was this viral sensation on Facebook, I think, of painting rocks and people would paint them and hide them in public places. Do you remember that?
Yeah, I remember that, and I still like doing that. I still have my same views on that, which that's just for like little crafty things or whatever that you want to like throw out in the community. But like my focus and purpose for this is I want to I'm just like working towards making my dream backyard of like having cute little stones in the garden just for like little pops of things and whatnot. So I want to have a few different like sets of like vegetables, cacti set, and like an M&M set. I'm working on that. So
Oh,
yeah.
I did that too.
Did you really?
Yeah, I made a whole bunch of rock M&Ms.
Did you do it with, like, the bite chewed out too? Or did you just make them?
Well, no, I think all my rocks were just circles, so I didn't do like a bite chewed out,
Oh,
but
gotcha. Yeah, I didn't have a perfect circle one, so I had to do, like, the little bite chewed out. It's so cute.
that's cute.
Yeah. But, yeah, so my week's been pretty good, but getting back to our trip to North Carolina, um, flying there was a breeze, I would say. I felt pretty good, not, like, anxious or anything. Both of my bags got checked. And my applesauce pouches were thoroughly inspected and my microphone for when we were going to film. Um,
Mhm.
but then we got there and we were so hungry and we were so excited to just sit down and finally finish our last 2
I
episodes
forgot about
of
this.
Tell
Wait,
Me.
we have to preface by saying that we both watched Tell Me Lies season 2, but we saved the finale to watch together because it came out a couple days before you were coming, and then I saved the episode before that too. So we were going to watch the last 2 episodes together, and we were so excited because if anybody hasn't watched Tell Me Lies, it's a very like edge of your seat anxiety inducing show where you want to know what's going to happen, and we were so freaking excited to watch this show.
We get our Zaxby's, we are just so pumped, we sit on the couch. I think I said out loud probably 4 or 5 times, "Bro, I'm so freaking excited."
No, me too. I was like, I'm so excited to just sit down and watch this show. Like, that was all we wanted to do. And guess
Hulu
what happened?
For Hulu to be, down randomly.
Hulu was down. Yeah, and it wasn't just for us. It was like actually down. And it was down for hours. And so we literally couldn't watch it that night. And that was a disappointment.
Oh, we were pissed.
We tried so many things because at first we didn't realize Hulu was down because I always have so many technical difficulties with Hulu. I thought it was me. I thought it was the TV. I thought it was my account. I thought I had to, I don't know, change my credit card. And then you tried it on your iPad and it worked for a minute. So we tried to put the iPad to the TV. And then finally I Googled it and realized that Hulu was down. And we didn't have a backup plan for what we were going to watch. We were so hungry and so excited.
And then we both decided we were gonna watch, what was that show? Nobody Wants This. And so
Yeah, we were gonna watch Nobody Wants This together because we just kept hearing about what a cute little rom-com show it was.
right, and I don't know why I just didn't wanna watch it. It was one of those shows I was gonna watch when I, like, didn't have anything else to watch. And so we started
Yeah.
watching it, and I'm just getting, like, more and more mad because like, I didn't wanna watch this show to begin with, so I don't even know what we put on, but yeah, we woke up the
Yeah, what
next
did we end up watching?
we
Oh, the
started
Menendez
we
brothers.
started
We started Monsters.
The Menendez brothers, not Menendez.
Yeah, you had a difficulty for a while saying that name, but yes, we started the show Monsters on Netflix, and we ended up watching that all weekend instead of Nobody Wants This.
Right, so in a little bit, we can, like, debrief on that.
Yeah, and then so we woke up the next morning and immediately watched the 2 episodes of Tell Me Lies while we had breakfast. So, it was the next best thing.
Yeah, it made up for it. We DoorDashed some breakfast, and it was just a good little setup morning brunch type of a thing.
Yeah, and then so that day we chilled, and then the next day we went into Charlotte, which was such a good surprise. I don't know why I had this idea of what Charlotte was in my head. Probably just the name Charlotte just sounds so old-fashioned. I thought it was like an older city. I thought it was old people, old buildings, just kind of historical or something. I don't know why, but when we went, it was so cute. It was young people, it was artsy, it was modern. There were all these little community areas, plant stores, bookstores, um journaling stores. It was like all my things that I love.
Just cutesy little brunch places, and I kept saying this a lot that well, we went to this vintage, I don't know, kind of like, um
Fall market.
fall market that was inside of an old, factory, Ford factory. It reminded me so much of the Eastern Market, like, down in Detroit, and Detroit's Detroit, and I just don't feel the safest going down there by myself to Detroit to, like, go to the Eastern Market every weekend even though they have fresh fruits and vegetables and all this, but Charlotte is definitely a place that I could just, like, see me and one of, like, my girlfriends going and just having, like, a cutesy little day because there's so much to do, and there's so many different, like, areas too, I didn't realize.
Yeah, we were in the little art district, which was so cute. Yeah, but um so then that night we had a bonfire, right?
Yeah, the bonfire,
And had some wine.
yeah, that was a lot of fun. We all the wood was damp. We went on a mad hunt for the wood, and we could not find it, so we got what we could, and we made the best of it, and we had such a fun night just, like, talking about our future and just, like
Oh my god, we were okay, this is what I wanted to talk about. We were on another level this weekend with how our brains were like meshing. We were dying laughing. Like like belly laughing, just having the best time, which sometimes things click and sometimes things don't, but you were so funny that weekend. And then we had all these just really deep conversations that were just flowing about our future and what was going to happen, and we were just having fun making up all these scenarios, and like, oh my god, it was so good.
Yeah, no, it was really good vibes. And I didn't tell you this, but when I was in the kitchen and you were in the living room and I was just like cleaning up, tidying up or whatever, because I want to be like a good little guest, I was just thinking like, oh, why don't we live together? And then I'm like, wait,
We tried
I'm
that.
like, we tried that. I was like, we're just really like in sync this week. And I was like,
Yes.
so that's just like where that's coming from. But
You know, that would be a funny topic to talk about sometime, though, how we're literally best friends, but when we tried to live together, it just did not work out. Like sisters and best friends, but we did not do well as roommates, like at all.
oh my gosh, yeah. That new episode unlocked right there. We definitely have to do that
Yeah.
cuz
No, that'll be funny.
we have some stories from that.
Yeah. Okay, so then the next day we were going to go back into Charlotte since that's where I had to drop you off at the airport anyways, and there were some other cute places we wanted to try, but then it was so nice outside. It's like the end of October and it still felt like straight up summer. It was high 70s, it was sunny, and we went out by the water, and then we decided just to take the kayaks out on the lake and just chill and be out on the water, which neither of us had done in so long, and it was so peaceful and relaxing before we went to the airport.
Yeah, and I think too, like that whole day, I specifically booked like a night flight because I don't want the morning flight and all of that stuff. But the whole day I was like very anxious, and we had strategically planned we were going to go back to Charlotte, do like this, do that, and then go to the airport. But then we kind of decided that morning we weren't going to do one thing, and then one thing led to the next, and we went kayaking. One, kayaking is like such an OG thing for like us to be doing, especially like when Megan was down in Georgia. That's we would do so much kayaking and just when we would travel. So that was just a really good like mindful relaxation just to have and
Yeah.
just to calm me down like before the airport and before the fuck shit that like I endured. But
Yeah.
um yeah, I'm so proud of us that we did that cuz we don't really do many. We're spontaneous, but like not sometimes.
I'm really bad at actually being spontaneous. I like to mentally prepare for things, but I've been really trying, like that hike thing in Vermont and when I went on the airlift and everything like that. I've been really trying to, when I get a thought in my head, that's kind of spontaneous and I want to do something that I know would be good for me to do, but then I kind of talk myself out of it. Then I've been trying to just go do that thing. So we were like, what if we went kayaking? And then we just did.
Yeah, we just did it. So, go us. Um then you dropped me off at the airport. And I feel like every time I go to the airport, I just learn a new thing that I need to do for the next time to make my sanity a lot better. Um, Long story short, I waited in the exact line I was supposed to be in for probably 25 minutes for me to be told to go to the other line, and I was looked at like I was stupid. So then this other line, what I heard from another passenger was this other line was almost a mile long that I had to wait in. And I waited until I got through security to have a slight mental breakdown on the phone with Megan. But after that, I was fine. I got myself a Sprite to be able to add to like my mixed drink on the plane. That exploded before I got on the plane. Then when I got on the plane and I got my drink, I spilt half that down my lap, so that was cool.
Mhm.
But, I made it home and I made it to work. That was my goal.
Yeah, I checked your location that morning and I texted you. I was like, "Oh my god, I'm so proud of you. You made it to work."
And I laid in bed so long that morning. Yeah, I'm proud. Okay, so do you want to get into the shows that we were watching?
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Okay, so we can start with Tell Me Lies because I feel like we don't have quite as much to say about that because we don't want to give any spoilers just in case anybody hasn't watched it yet. But I think what we both wanted to say about that show was just how good of a show that is to watch if you want to see what a toxic relationship can look like and how it can start off and maybe doesn't seem as toxic, but how people can be so manipulative and sneaky in the ways that they manipulate you that they make you think it's your fault. And everything about that show is just so realistic. And we also liked that it shows so many different kinds of toxic relationships among a bunch of the couples and how the toxicity goes both ways. It's usually not just one person that's being toxic, it's usually both. And I feel like this show was so realistic that it's kind of a good watch for anybody that wants to know how those things can actually happen.
Yeah, no, I really enjoyed the series. This was a series that was kind of like a hard watch just to see. Not okay, it wasn't a hard watch. It was just like difficult for me to just like watch like all of that stuff happen. So I ended up stop watching halfway through season 1 when Megan and I first started watching it together. But then when we rewatched it, I was like hooked and I finished season 1 and then I watched season 2 like as each episode came out, and season 2 is so good and just so much stuff happens. There's so many unique relationships in different things, and there
Yeah.
was definitely a few scenarios of where I could like pinpoint like those in my life.
Oh yeah, there were definitely times when I was watching that show and I was thinking that some people watching it that haven't experienced it might think that it was an exaggeration or that it's dramatized for the show, but I've heard those exact phrases like literally come out of people's mouths before. And I've felt those exact feelings sometimes, and that was crazy to watch. And it is a hard watch. It's the kind of show where you'll see if you're scrolling on TikTok, it's the kind of show that makes people yell at the TV because you just want to like scream at them and shake their head and be like, hello, what are you doing? Like, you're making the wrong decision again. And it is a hard watch to because of that, but it's also very realistic, which I think is why it has a lot of people hooked because it's so toxic and it's such like drama filled, but it's a really well done show.
Yeah, it is a really well done show. I agree with that.
I've started to see some clips of I think the actor that plays Steven, the really toxic guy, is Jackson. And have you seen the clips of him where he's just like so goofy and silly and he's laughing and he's just like he's so like sweet and wholesome. And I was like, oh my God, this is crazy. He does such a good job at being the villain. Like he's scary in the show. Oh, and then one last thing that I thought was really funny. I saw this TikTok and it was this guy like, you know, when people overhear conversations in public and then they warn someone online. So this guy was like, bro, if your name's Steven and you live in like this city or whatever, these girls were ripping you apart. You're in trouble. Like, you should leave when you like they get home or something like that. He was going on and on about how pissed off and animated these girls were, like bitching about this guy named Steven. And everybody in the comments, and my first reaction was like, oh, they 100% were talking about Tell Me Lies. And everybody in the comments was like, bro, Steven is from Tell Me Lies, because this show gets you so worked up, like that you just want to talk about it and, you know, yell about it.
No, that's seriously so funny. I like died laughing when you had told me that. That was so.
Okay, but then moving on to the Menendez brothers, we watched the documentary and the show. And also, did you see about the DA and what they said a few days ago about the resentencing?
Ooh, I was hoping you would like bring up like the most current news because I haven't. I looked, but I haven't like. I need your.
Yeah, I actually watched it live because I wasn't sure
Wow.
what was there like exactly going on with all of that.
Wow. Oh my
I
god.
know I'm
That is
I'm really invested.
that's insane for you, for real. I'm so proud.
I know. And it was like a hard watch too, because this DA was just jibber jabbering, just yapping. And I was like, get to the point. Because what's going to happen is basically the DA, he could have recommended like resentencing for the boys or not. And this isn't the final decision. The judge still has to agree and everything. But the DA did end up recommending resentencing for the brothers. And basically, his recommendation was time served. And I think he said without parole. So basically, they've already served the time that they should have served and they won't be on parole. I think about the parole thing. I'm not 100% sure. But basically, that was his recommendation. And then now the judge, it's up to the judge to resentence them and like, well, then we'll see what happens to them. And I could be wrong about this, but I'm pretty sure it's at the end of November, if I'm not mistaken, unless they moved that up too, because the DA moved his decision up too, because everybody's like so invested in this. They were going to do everything later, but so I'm not exactly sure about the timeline. But one thing that the DA said that just made me kind of sad, and this is like a really heavy topic, so I'll just say it and then we'll move on. But he was like, a lot of the people in the office, we have people on both sides, like in the DA's office, people that think these brothers have served all the time that they need to serve and need to be set free immediately. And then he goes, and we also have people that think they should be in prison for the rest of their lives because they don't believe that they were abused. And I just couldn't believe he like said that so casually, that there's still so many people that just don't believe them after watching the footage that we watched and everything. That's literally just so sad. And we don't have to harp on that part of it, but oh my God, just that statement that he made, that there are still so many people. And that just was so sad. But they've served 35 years so far. That's crazy.
Yeah, that is crazy. And also too, like I just want to also put this out there. So we watched what's it called? Monsters first or Monster?
Yeah.
We watched that first, and throughout that we were on our phones like almost the whole time just like fact checking all of this stuff. And I it was very dramatized, and
Well, yeah.
really, like, don't like how much it was dramatized, and I know you said you looked up that one of the brothers have come out and kind of was, like, a little bit disappointed in the way that they were, like, portrayed and stuff like that.
Yeah, so Cooper Koch, who played Eric in the show, he's really nice. I've been seeing all this footage of him. He's such a nice person, such a good actor. He had already been invested in the brothers' story way before the show. Like 7 years ago, he sent Eric a letter just to be like, I believe you, we support you, like the stuff like that. And then so he met them recently. And basically, Eric, I think, had said that he wasn't happy with how they were portrayed in the show. But then Lyle said that he finally watched episode 5, I think it was, which was that entire monologue from Cooper Koch, who played Eric. And what Lyle told him was that he did a really good job in that episode and that he actually got Eric and understood Eric. And I was like, oh, wow, because that was just emotional. That whole entire episode was one take, literally one like 35-minute take, one monologue. That's crazy. And it was so good.
No, it's amazing how well, like, that was portrayed. I think what I'm more talking about so is Lyle. Just because there are so many things with him, like, I was not a fan of Lyle, and he just I don't know, he just seemed like this awful influence on and just I don't know, but and so I had this whole viewpoint after watching Monsters, and then we watched the documentary, and it just, like, painted a whole new, like, point of view for me of, like, who Lyle is as a person and whatnot, and seeing and, like, hearing right? Like, we heard his voice in the documentary, like,
Yeah,
both
they
boys
had
were
his they
talking.
they had phone calls, I think, from both of them
Right,
as adults.
and just, like, hearing their voices and all of that, and another thing too that just really kind of tore at my heartstrings was that the boys were separated for, like, the first part of, like, their sentence, which
Not just the first part though. It was like, hold on, let me do the math. I think 28 years. I'm pretty sure it was like 28 years they were separated, and then for the last 5 years or whatever they've been in the same prison again.
right, and I think, like, the separation was just so harsh, and I could also, like, see how, like, that was needed, but it also
No, but
made
in the show, you think it's needed, right? In the show, they're toxic for each other.
right,
In real life, I think that was fucked up to separate them like that.
I agree.
I don't know. In real life, I think they had a good, brother relationship and it would have been good for them. But another thing the DA said was a lot of people, especially when they're that young and they get life sentence without the possibility of parole, they know they're going to be in prison for the rest of their life. A lot of people take that as, okay, well, then I'm just going to do whatever the hell I want. I don't have to be a good person. I don't have to I don't have to, contribute to society. I don't have to do anything. I'm in here for the rest of my life anyway. They can do whatever they want. But that's not what these brothers did. They were really good people. They helped everyone around them. They advocated for other victims. They, got their education. They were like really good members of society even in prison.
No, and I completely agree with you and what your like past statement was about how they were portrayed in Monsters versus like real life. And also too the fact that they are and they're proving that they're being good people in while they're in prison just goes to show so much. And I know like we had made I don't know, you had previously watched a TikTok that had said, "Hey, like let's not make these boys or these men like popular like how Gypsy Rose is now." But like I could see the Menendez brothers being famous
In a
in
serious
a
way, though.
serious way, and I would
Right.
promote that. Like I would support that if of course they're going to be promoting and supporting SA and stuff like that.
Right. There's a difference between making someone famous and glorifying them. And the whole Gypsy Rose thing, what happened with that afterwards was just very weird. It was just very strange. And that whole thing was just very weird. I think if these brothers did decide, I don't even know if it doesn't seem like they even want to really be in the public light, though. So I don't know what they're going to do after this. I'm sure they will do a lot of advocating behind the scenes at the very least. I don't know if they're going to even want a public platform. I think it would be fine, I guess, either way. But if they did, I think they would do it in a serious way. You know what I mean? And they know what they did was wrong. And the DA said, this resentencing isn't about saying whether they were guilty or not back then or what their sentence should have been back then. The resentencing is about if they're a danger to society now, if they should be let out now. And I feel like even if people believe them, they've been in jail for 35 years and they've proven, even though they thought they were never getting out, that they're not a harm to anyone. They're actually really good people. You know what I mean? So it's like, I mean, if that's what it goes by, then they should be let out. And the judge is very experienced in resentencing cases. And they said he's a very thorough judge. And, so I'm just really hoping that they get out.
Another thing I had heard about this is that this whole generation that's like their biggest advocates wasn't even born when this like all happened. And that's
Yeah.
mind blowing to me.
Because Gen Z is what, like the 2000s, they were starting to be born, the
Yeah.
late 90s and early 2000s. And it's like, this happened in what, 88 or 89?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my god, I'm
They
gonna
were,
sound dumb. Were you born then?
yeah, I was born in 93. But I mean, I was 4. So obviously I didn't know what was going on. And I don't think their actual trial happened until like 93 or something like that, or even 7 years later, I feel.
So
I don't
you
know.
weren't no,
I
so
forget
you
the
weren't
timeline.
born when like the murder happened.
No.
Okay. But you were like born for like during the trial and like all that stuff.
I mean, I guess. Yeah, I
Yeah.
was like a baby.
Right.
One more thing that I will say about the show is I was hearing people say that the show was obviously meant to be dramatized. We all know that it was extremely dramatized and exaggerated, and there were things added in there that didn't actually happen and all kinds of things like that. But what I heard people saying was that the show was kind of meant to show every single perspective, including the perspective that the public had of these boys at the time. And all of that craziness about their spending and how they were acting and all that wasn't real, but it was what the public believed about them. So even the scene at the end where not to give any spoilers, but the scene at the end is kind of like a hopeful note of the parents on the boat, and almost like the parents were going to try to turn things around and be better and stuff like that, and people were really upset about that. But people were saying maybe that was someone else's perspective, like the parents' perspective they were showing or whatever. And so it's like the show was just trying to show every single side of it. And so I think maybe I could see it that way, that it was done in an artistic way where the craziness that they were showing was how the public was viewing them,
Yeah.
which is interesting.
Yeah. And another thing too, and then like we can move on. Can we just talk about like and this is so serious, but how funny it was? Like there were parts that just like
Oh, the
the
show.
show.
Yeah, the show was really funny, which makes you feel bad because it's not well, I guess they did kind of try to make it funny. Like, there were
I tried not
scenes
to
that had us
laugh.
laughing out loud.
Yeah, like, it's crazy, and I am hearing some of these, like, not voiceovers, but just, like, sounds on TikTok, and I'm hearing 2 in particular. I'm hearing, "Dimes, dimes, dimes, I need dimes," and, like, that one just, like, gets me going, and I could see if that's, like, some of the guards', like, viewpoint and perspective on, like, that scene and how, like, dramatized that part of it was of just, like, needing, like, the physical
Yeah.
dimes.
Well, yeah, there's 2 main songs that are going super viral from the show. The one is that one, it's like, "I'm gonna miss you when you're gone" kinda thing. So I think that one is meant to be sad. But then the other one is, like, "Blame It on the Rain That Was Falling" that they were singing in the car.
No, I
They're
I
like,
haven't.
"Blame it on the rain that was falling, falling." They're, like, screaming in the car together to it.
Oh, I don't remember that one.
That was funny too.
Gotcha.
And so that song's going viral, and then the other one's going
So, moving on to something that was became apparent when we were together in North Carolina was food eating habits, and I don't know what
oh.
struck that. Do you remember?
Yeah, it was me putting ice in my wine.
Oh, yeah, because I asked if the wine was chilled, and you're like, "No, it's warm." You're like,
And
"But
I
I."
was like, "No, I was just gonna put ice in it." And then you were like, "Oh, okay, I do that too, but that's kind of controversial." And then we started talking about all the controversial food things that we do.
And then, can I also say before we get into the controversial that, like, I just don't get because I questioned you on your ice in your wine, is you don't like ice. So, like,
Oh,
why? You get in
yeah, so that's the funny part.
you
I get my iced coffee with no ice.
correct. So, like,
Yeah.
why?
Okay, here's the thing. I don't like ice, but I like my drink to be cold. When I get an iced coffee, it's cold from the milk, but I don't like ice in it because I don't want it to be too cold. And I also can't stand when it gets watered down. So for me, there's a perfect temperature. I don't want it warm, but I also don't want it too cold. So, like, I know how many ice cubes I put in my water for it to melt perfectly, but still be cold enough, but not too warm. And so that's the kind of thing with the ice and the wine. I put the ice in there, but it melts. I don't like having physical ice in there. I need to put just enough so that it all melts, but it cools it down. Should we start with should we ease into it or should we start with the most controversial one?
Gosh, they're all pretty controversial.
No, there's one that's like gets a visceral reaction every anytime anybody finds this out about me.
About okay, you can say that one because that one's very prominent in your life.
Yeah. So we both, which also people don't believe me when I say my sister does this too, or they say, well, then that's your fault for teaching her that. But we dip our Oreos in water instead of milk,
Yep,
which
true fact.
anytime anybody finds that out about me, they look horrified. So let me just say, first of all, I don't like milk. I hate milk. I don't drink milk. I don't put milk on anything. I never buy milk. I don't like it. So I feel like that plays a big role in it. Okay.
Wait, question. You just, like, don't like milk just because you don't like milk, or do you not like milk because, like, you had to watch a video in high school and, like, you learned a bunch of things about milk?
I have no idea what video you're no, I just don't like milk.
No.
I've never seen a video about milk.
It's like, about the production of milk and, like, what's allowed in milk and what's taken out and
Oh,
yeah.
no, I've never seen that. I just don't like milk. I don't like the flavor of it. I don't like the of it. I don't know. I just hate it.
Yeah, I think I might be on a milk break after this conversation. Um, but yeah, I don't know, milk is just, like, and sometimes it can hurt your stomach. So, why not use something that is literally just, like, to get your Oreo soggy,
Right,
to
that's
sog
the
it up.
thing. It's just water doesn't have a flavor, and all I want is the soggy Oreo. So it's like, why does it matter what I use to make it soggy? It's not like water has a flavor. I'm not dipping it in orange juice. You know what I mean? Like, what's the big deal? I
Right,
don't get it.
exactly, and hydration.
Yeah, well, that's another thing is like people, okay, they finally accept the fact that I dip it in water, right? But then I drink the water. That's what people are like, that's disgusting. But I think it's the same thing as drinking the milk after. I don't know. It's not like there's floaties in it or something. It's just water.
How isn't there floaties in it? How, like,
What,
soggy
you
do
have
you get your
pieces of
Oreo? Like, I'm, like, getting my Oreo, like I'm, like, fighting gravity, like, when I'm pulling it up and putting it in my
No,
mouth.
I don't do it quite that long.
Oh, gotcha.
I just yeah, I don't know how many seconds, but
I
I
don't
don't
think
know.
I would do that, nor do I do that. That would just be like a I'm drinking something gross game.
Ew. But yeah, this has become a thing where it's like I don't even know the last time I had a fucking Oreo. Probably like years ago. It's not like it even comes up a lot, but once my friends in Georgia found out when I lived there, it was always a thing where it would come up somehow and then my friends would tell other people and then other people would tell other people and then all of a sudden everybody at work knew and it was like this thing that everybody knew about me and they whenever a new person would find out, they would come up to me and they'd be like, listen, I heard this thing about you. I don't think it's true. I just need to confirm with you because this is really like terrible. And I'm like, oh my God, what are people saying about me? Like, there's rumors being spread about me. They're like, I needed to come straight to you and clarify this because someone told me that you dip your Oreos in water. And I'm like, you know what? Unfortunately, that is true. And I'm so sorry you had to hear that.
People are so dramatic. They don't even try it. Try it.
That's what I'm saying, don't knock it till you try it, it's actually
Exactly.
really good.
Exactly. Okay,
Yeah.
so moving on, string cheese. How do you eat your string cheese?
Well, yeah, so we were talking about how string cheese and Kit Kats, we just bite into it.
Well, yeah.
Like, the string cheese, you just take a bite. The Kit Kat, you don't break it, you just take a bite.
Well, yeah, but hold on the Kit Kat. So, like, the string cheese, people just like to, like, pull just the string pieces and just, like they like to savor it. Like, when I'm hungry and I wanna eat, so I'm just gonna eat it in the most quickest and efficient way possible, which is bite, 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 bite. But with, like, Kit Kats, some people, like, eat a Kit Kat of, like, breaking it into a piece and then breaking off the sides and then eating, like, the chocolate on top and then, like
No, that's weird too, normal
no
people don't do that.
right.
Normal people just break it so that it's 2 pieces, and then they just eat each piece.
No, whatever size bar it is, king size, 2 size, I just eat it like it's a sandwich. Just eat it from the corner, make my way around.
Well, see, with the string cheese, when you get all these tiny little strings of the cheese, it just changes the texture of it too. And I feel like you can't even taste the cheese because it's just this tiny little string of it. So I'd just rather take a bite of cheese. I don't know. I don't like the texture of stringy cheese either.
Yeah, true, and maybe, I mean, I just saw this thing on TikTok, which I know you won't like, but somebody, like, cut an onion so many different ways, and it was like, "Each way that I cut this onion tastes so different." And I'm like, honestly, that could be true, so, like, different ways that you're, like, eating the cheese of because it has more flavor when you just eat it solid instead of, like, making it flowy and stringy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Honestly, usually my cheese sticks, I usually don't eat those mozzarella ones that you just peel them. I usually just eat cheddar cheese sticks, which is literally just a stick. You can't even
Right.
peel it.
You just have to, like, munch on it. I guess my weird thing from, like, food is all 3 of these things listed above. I when my best friend found out about it in college, they started calling me a psychopath, and I'm like, "Honestly, it's you guys who are being over dramatic and weird about this.
It's funny how,
It's just
like,
food."
worked up people get about food.
Yeah,
Like, I've definitely been called a psychopath too.
yeah, and, like, no, I seen some psychopaths, Steven, but not me, not me.
I think the only other well, actually, I have other weird food things too, but the one that we both have too, that's not like a weird food thing, but it's just us is like not really much seasoning and the way that we cook is just that's just the way we grew up. I don't know, the Midwest, everything was bland. Nobody put seasoning in anything. So we just ate plain ass food and now it's like I feel like my taste buds are broken cuz any extra spices at all, well, not like the non-spicy ones, but any sort of spicy spices I like cannot handle. It just burns my mouth. I don't like any sort of spice.
Yeah, we don't, and it hurts my stomach too, to be honest, like, it just my stomach's very fragile. It can flip and get I can be really nauseous really quick, and so I like the bland foods and whatnot, and it's not to say that we don't I don't cook with, like, onion seasoning and garlic powder and, like, Italian seasoning and all that stuff, like, I try to use, like, the green spices and whatnot, but nothing like turmeric or cumin sometimes and chili, but, we stick to the bland stuff. And I don't like sauces.
Oh, I'm a sauce person. I like dipping. I like dipping everything. I love sauce.
No, I do not like sauces. Ketchup and ranch is good enough for me.
Yeah, so you're even more plain than me.
Mhm.
My other weird thing that I don't think you have this either, but is that I need to overcook everything. I need to overcook my meat, I need to overcook my chicken. I want it dry, and I need to overcook my eggs. I don't want them runny at all. Everything that I make, I overcook almost to the point of burning it.
Yeah, no, that's
But I do it on purpose. It's not like I'm a bad cook. That's how I prefer to eat it. You know what I mean?
yeah, I feel like your husband's gonna be the cook in your
If
relationship.
I end up with somebody that cooks, that would be great. That would be perfect.
Would you your portion of the food or would you just eat?
If it was meat, they would have to. I can't because it's just like how people, I guess I don't eat steak, but like people have steak preferences. I'm sure maybe it would be hard to eat the kind of steak that's not your preference, just because it's kind of not, it's different and you don't like it. You know what I mean? Either way. I feel like if you like your steak really rare and someone gives you a well done steak, you're going to think it's nasty and vice versa. So that's how I feel about meat. And like my meat, I would need overcooked. But honestly, I don't even eat a lot of meat at all.
Yeah,
So I don't even think that would be a huge problem. Like whoever I end up with, if they cook and they make a lot of things with meat, that would be fine. I don't care if they eat the meat, but my portion would probably just not really have meat in it?
yeah,
So I
true.
don't think it would be an issue.
Gotcha.
Okay, I think that's all we had on the food stuff.
So I have an update on Luna, and this actually just happened in the last probably 12 hours. Um,
Oh.
so I started my period yesterday, which was unfortunate, but didn't take me down for the count like it typically does. So I was in the bathroom doing whatever. It's Dad just went to bed. Oh, I took a shower. I took a shower and I still wasn't feeling the best. Didn't want to stand up, do my whole skincare thing. So I was like, screw this. I was just getting my stuff and booking it to like my bedroom. Well, lo and behold, somebody was missing me. So they were sitting outside of the door in the dark ass house. So I open the door and I start like almost running and I trip and your painting that like you gave us is I don't know, like probably 2 feet by 3 feet that's hanging on the wall in, like, the hallway. I, like, fell into it, and it was, like, jiggling, like, on the wall, and then
Oh
I hear, "Rah!"
god.
and then I'm like, "Lou," and then, like, I stabilized myself, and then she just, like, started following me back and, like, weaving, like, in between my legs. I'm like, "What are you
Oh.
doing?"
Well, yeah, I'm sorry, but Luna, you're dark, dark gray. You can't just be sitting there in the dark in the pathway of where people are walking. Like, how does she not learn that?
No, for real.
Oh, speaking of cats, have you seen Maxwell the cat on TikTok?
No, I have not.
Okay, have you ever seen when people put a GoPro on their cat that are outdoor cats and like they wander around and it's like really cute?
Yes.
Okay. Well, there's this cat named Maxwell, and the owner has a GoPro on it. This cat is a menace to society. It goes out and picks a fight with every other animal that it sees. And so it's it's kind of funny, but it's also like, bro, keep your cat inside if he's gonna act like that. So the cat will be just like sneaking up, and you'll see it peer around like behind a trash can, and it locks eyes on another cat, and then it just goes for it and it starts fighting all these random animals and it just attacks everybody. And so it's all this content day after day after day. This cat goes out and just terrorizes the world. And everybody on TikTok was like, we need to talk about Maxwell the cat. Became this whole topic. And everybody's like, this guy needs to keep his cat inside. This is not a good cat. This is not a cat that should be out there. That's like poor. I feel bad for all the other animals.
Yeah. No, that's if you know that your cat is going out and, like, attacking everything, why would you do that? Like,
I don't
that's not
know. And
okay.
especially Yeah, you saw the footage and everything. And then there was this other cat that got a GoPro because the owner was like, oh my God, if that cat does that, I need to see what my cat's doing out there, you know? And so their cat was so sweet. It was actually really funny. Their cat was like wandering through little meadows with flowers and just like trotting along and living this little peaceful life and looking up at the blue sky. And everybody was like, bro, this cat is like living a little fairy tale life, and Maxwell is in like a horror movie.
Oh, that's
I know.
crazy.
Yeah, I just thought it was really funny, like cat drama on TikTok.
Wait, speaking of more drama on TikTok, when you were in New York, I saw this thing in New York about it's called the bed stewy fish or whatever. It's like this little fire hydrant that just had this continuous leak. And so around like in the cement where it was at, it like had this like puddle that like got bigger.
Oh, in New York City.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And have you seen that?
Yeah,
Oh,
they made it like a whole fish area there
yeah.
on the sidewalk.
Like a whole cutesy, like, aquarium type of a thing, and people would just drop off, like, goldfish and whatever. Because it got so much attraction, the fire department saw, they came, they killed majority of the fish and cemented it back up
Why did they kill them?
and took everything down. I they could have, like, took them all out and saved them and transported them, but there were only a handful of fish remaining, and everybody's pissed about it.
Okay, well, they had to fix the sidewalk, but I mean, they should have still saved the fish.
Yeah, I agree.
Oh. Um, okay, shall we get into the game?
Yeah, okay,
Okay, so the game is called Pick Three. It's literally just I'm going to give you topics and you have to pick three things, okay?
okay.
What are your top three most used emojis? Because I feel like yours and mine are going to be very different. I have very millennial emojis.
I need to look at my phone. Okay, this is, like, legit. My top 3. In which order do they go? Do they go, like
Well, no, because that's just your most recent. So you can't go by, I don't want most recent. I mean, you can look in the frequently used, they're probably in there, but like, what are your top three that you use, not the three most recent?
I actually really don't use emojis anymore, but,
Oh my
um,
God. I love
definitely number 1 is, the, like, heart, like, the hand heart, like this.
Yeah.
I do that a lot, and then I guess, like, the, like, pink emoji with, like, a bunch of, like, bigger pinks, like, pink hearts, like, coming behind it, and then I don't know, I guess I do this one a lot, like, the hand on the face with the girl with the hand on the face, kinda shaking her head.
Oh, yeah, like like face palm.
Yeah.
My top one by far is the like crying laughing emoji, which I know is like the most millennial thing because I know people, well, I guess people your age just don't even use emojis anymore. Because for a while it was like the skull, like saying I'm dead, but I think that's old now too.
Yeah, I don't really see that.
So what do people do to laugh nowadays?
I, react to a message, or I'll say, "Ha ha ha," or I'll say, like, LOL or OMFG, or, like, I'll say, like, "I'm dead."
You know
Like, I'm
what?
literally dead. I say I'm dead out
Maybe
loud.
I love emojis so much and millennials use them and use the lame ones because when we first started like texting, we didn't have emojis. We would have to use like, colons and parentheses and stuff like that, and we had a whole language with like periods and underscores and all these things, and we had all these faces that we could make with symbols. But now that we have emojis, it's just so fun to use them. So I do the cry laughing, I do the red heart, and I do the little blushing smiley face as my normal smiley face. But I also do the one where there's like tears in the eyes, where it's like
E
so sweet. I do that one a lot too because that used to be a sad one and now they made a little one that's a happy cry. And I like that.
Can we talk about that? You using the blushing smiley face as, like, a normal, like, smiley face?
Yeah, because you know what? After we had that conversation, because Sarah saw what smiley face I use as my normal smiley face, and it's the blushing one with like the little cutesy like the eyes are kind of like closed. And I think that's just like, I don't know, a cute little smile. If you look at the actual smiley faces on here, they look psychotic because you said use the one with the mouth open smile. That looks like you're a
No,
serial
I
killer.
use this. I'm sending you this one.
That's the same thing. It's blushing
No,
too.
this is like okay, this is my interpretation. This
Yeah, but yours is also blushing.
it's a normal smiley face. It's the OG smiley face. Then this one's
No.
like like I'm blushing. Like stop. Like yeah, we have different interpretations of emojis and their meanings.
Well, yeah, we definitely do, but then you made me nervous because I'm like, well, just like, am I accidentally being flirty with people then when I'm not meaning it in that way? I'm just, that's literally just my normal smiley face that I use, you know?
No. I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, okay.
But us
What are
Miles people are kind of naturally flirty, so it's okay. Tracks.
you think I don't know if I'm naturally flirty. Maybe.
I know Dad and I are.
Okay. Um, what three fictional characters would you take on a road trip with you?
I mean, I could be like, oh, Damon. Um, I'd want like somebody funny, like a comedian, like maybe
Yeah.
like Melissa McCarthy or somebody like that. And then maybe like,
I want to take Nick from New Girl.
ooh, I would take Nick instead of Melissa McCarthy. Nick from New Girl, and then I don't know.
Yeah, I didn't really think about it either, so I don't know. I would take Nick and I would take Damon too. Okay. If you could only eat three foods for the rest of your life, what would they be?
Watermelon, steak,
Whoa.
and mashed potatoes.
See, watermelon, steak, and mashed potatoes?
Yum. I love all
Wow.
those things. Honestly, now maybe even some sourdough bread. That's also very good.
That's crazy. That's like so opposite.
What would you say?
Well, is it cheating to say like fruit salad? So that's like a bunch of fruits.
No,
Okay, I would do fruit salad and then I would also just do salad. Like that would 100% I could eat a salad every day. And then my third food, I got fruit salad, salad.
like chicken, like protein,
Oh
like
no, I would
salmon.
do what? Did you say salmon?
Yeah.
But if I could only eat for the rest of my life,
Oh,
every single day, I would do a quesadilla.
chicken quesadilla. Or
Like
just,
a chicken black bean quesadilla.
yeah, that would be good.
Okay, what are your top 3 scents? Like for like soaps or candles or whatnot?
Great question. My top scent is okay. I'll just give you like my top scents for like all of like the year. So I like sun washed citrus. That one.
You're
Oh
going Bath and Body Works.
yeah, sun washed citrus, and then I like a good vanilla birch. That's so yummy, so good.
Ugh,
And then
lavender.
ooh, yes, the lavender, I think bergamot, so good. It's like the sleep thing at Bath& and Body Works right now. That's like an OG scent from Bath& and Body Works that, like, came back. So good. And then, like, pumpkin vanilla cupcake is also really good.
Bro, I said 3.
I know. And then watermelon lemonade.
I knew yours were going to be have vanilla and lavender because I don't like either of those. I do like citrus though.
Yeah. We don't
I think mine would be a citrus one, some sort of cologne smelling one. I really like the masculine ones that just smell like
yeah, I
cologne.
hate those.
Yeah, and then I would do some sort of sweet scent that's either like fruity or flowery, but it can't be too much. It has to be the perfect kind. If it goes too far either way, it's too much, but I would have to find a good sweet scent.
Yeah.
Okay, let's do one more. If you had to pick 3 places to go on vacation and those were the only 3 places you could go on vacation for the next, I don't know, 10 years or something, what 3 places would you do?
That's a good question. If I had to pick 3 different places to travel and, like, my home is still Michigan,
Yeah.
do I have to give specific places or can I just give, like, types of places?
What do you mean?
Like, could I say, like, a tropical place, a place in the mountains, and then, like
Yeah, but like only one place. Like you would just have to find the perfect place for that, right?
yeah. And then my third one would be, like, a place near, like, far. away from a city, but like within like an hour, I feel like.
Huh?
My last place would be like near a city.
That's like anywhere in the whole world.
I don't know. These are all just putting me on the spot.
Are all yours in the US?
Well, I really want to go to Australia, but that's not going to be like, I don't want to go there for like the rest of my life. It's like
Yeah.
a long ass flight to do. Yeah, I don't know. Ooh, or maybe I'd have a farm somewhere.
You'd have a farm
I don't know.
for vacation.
There's so many different possibilities of like places if
You're
you have to choose
funny.
between 3.
Yeah, I know. I guess I was just thinking more like specific places, but
Yeah, no, I don't have any specific place.
so you would do a tropical beachy place, a mountain place, and a relaxing farm type place.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fair. I would probably do I would do a tropical beachy place. I would do a mountains one, cabin somewhere, and I would maybe do New York City just for the excitement and the events there.
Yeah, I could see that for you.
Okay, well, that's all I had for that game this week. But thank you guys for joining us, and we will see you next time.
Bye.